Hello, my name is Joshua Gilliland, eDiscovery blogger on Bowtie Law and on the Legal Geeks. Today, we are following one of my goals for 2013 and into 14 to talk about solutions. We should never be ashamed to talk about an eDiscovery solution. So I invited my friends from Kroll Ontrack to talk about one of their new solutions that they've come out from eDiscovery.com. And with that, I have Kamal Gad-el-Hak with me to talk about eDiscovery.com Manage. Kamal, how are you doing today?
Good, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you with us, and I hope you're having a great time in Boston.
I am. It's actually not too cool out here today. Much better than my colleagues out in Minnesota that are about to get 7 inches of snow tonight, I believe.
And I'm in San Jose, and it's sunny, crisp, and beautiful. So let's talk a little eDiscovery before we look at the new application. You were a paralegal. You did law school and got smart. And could you tell me some of what you think are some of the biggest eDiscovery challenges we have right now for attorneys?
Sure. So, I mean, coming from a litigation support background, having managed projects myself and managed teams that manage projects, really eDiscovery management and taking a fairly chaotic process of managing disjointed projects on disjointed technology tends to be some of the biggest challenges that exist in eDiscovery, other than, the practice of law itself. And at any given time when I was either managing projects myself or managing a team of folks, we were using 4 or 5 different types of technology, vastly different types of cases, with little to no visibility into the differences in which we were managing the projects and potential efficiencies we could have gained had we had insight into the metrics and analysis of volumes and decisions for those projects.
Yeah, I hear you there. I've seen similar challenges, just from the drudgery of doc review to trying to, keep all the balls in the air and understand what's going on. Was a nightmare. You look at some of the cases that are poster children for, management tools, and you get the Delta airline baggage fees litigation where they inadvertently didn't search a couple hard drives because of miscommunications. And also the TD Bank case was an experiment in people not talking together. And I'm sure there are tons of others that don't have published cases, but are just train wrecks where things went wrong. But let's focus on the positive, and not the negative. Could you show me eDiscovery.com Manage and how this can help people?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Should be coming up for you shortly. So there's really 2 main aspects that we are addressing with the eDiscovery.com Manage application. What you see when you first log into the application is our portfolio dashboard, which is essentially the aggregation of several different projects, both at a total spend level as well as a phase breakdown, to show you how and where you're expending costs on eDiscovery matters. Additionally, we have built in the ability to compare and contrast similar types of matters. So I discussed some of the challenges that I myself has experienced in just managing similar types of projects, but maybe through different technology or different case teams. Now I can really put those 2 types of projects side by side and look and compare and contrast, the differences in how I'm managing that project. So at an entry level, we're providing the ability to compare and contrast projects.
Very cool. Could you show me? Wow, I like all of the graphical interface. Could you show the analytics? bar right there?
Absolutely. So, I mean, just comparing two projects side by side, you can see some things that may point you as to how these two types of cases that are both patent matters, but possibly being managed by different outside counsels or different inside case teams. One which had more data processed, less reviewed, one that had far less data processed and more reviewed. We're not going to necessarily be able to tell everybody the subjective decision-making process that went into why these differences in cost occurred, but we're going to at least provide them complete transparency into the information and the data that we have so they can begin looking at how the data itself has evolved through the review process and compare and contrast, what was sent into us from a source volume perspective, what made its way into our early data assessment tools, our review tools, and then ultimately comparing custodians side by side to see if you have, potentially custodians that are bloating your culling process or your review process, etc.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, all right, what other information can we track with eDiscovery.com Manage?
So in addition to project specific detail and then the whole concept of rolling it up to the portfolio level, we're also providing insight into the financial elements as it relates to breakdowns by invoice. So traditionally, invoices get stuffed into envelopes at the end of every month. They get sent to account payables departments. They may sit there for days, weeks, or sometimes even months if they tend to have the right information on them. Here on our financials page, we're displaying, the total spend over the life of the project as well as what was originally estimated. You can see in this instance we've exceeded the original estimate for the project, but you can also see where that $30,000 difference or so is being made up. There's review services and hosting services that may not necessarily have been accounted for at the onset of the project. We're also going to provide access to all historical invoices as well. So say that invoice is not gotten paid or that it's stuck in accounts payable somewhere, you have the ability to come here, drill into it, and gain access into a specific invoice and reprint it if you would like.
One of the trends I've been following this year has been in the taxation of cost cases, and some of the information that you see in the cases are a little nebulous when it comes to the eDiscovery services on the invoices. Could you, encourage people using this tool to be specific? And so if there's, in the event of a taxation of cost battle, that you could export a report that would have enough details for a judge to understand the services that were rendered?
Absolutely. And then we also have added one additional component. You mentioned a couple of cases at the beginning of our conversation where a lot of this detail falls down in communication. That's the last component that we've added into the application up to this point to really tie it all together, because all these portfolio and project details and analysis are very useful, but it's just a starting point for bringing more efficiency to the eDiscovery management process. And to that same extent, we've added in the concept of this project wall or an activity feed to essentially provide insight into our customers of what happens when your data gets sent to us. So not only monitoring communications between our project management teams and our internal operations teams, but also communicating from, for example, systems, when searches are completed being run, or, where specific messages have been routed to myself, or even specific topics, documents being posted for first level review. So it's really the combination of the portfolio and project management, compare and contrast interactivity analysis, as well as the addition of this project wall that really brings it all around full circle to create this ecosystem for managing projects more effectively.
It's really cool looking. I like the social media aspect to it because lawyers should be familiar with that because they operate on social media just like
Well,
everybody else.
careful not to scare them, Josh, because we're also doing our due diligence to make sure that we have a good handle on the processes in which we communicate, the processes and best practices which we use to communicate to our clients, and how this information will be retained and destroyed, and it's essentially archived if and when a case is shut down as well.
Yeah, well, it's work product, and
Exactly.
so that's actually pretty fascinating. But the ease of use of it should encourage people to use it. Now,
That's our goal.
Now, is everything self-contained within the application, so you're not dealing with email inboxes exploding from more email coming in, or can
Correct. So currently, right now, everything is self-contained within the project wall. We're looking at a couple different options in terms of offering notifications outside of the application. Obviously, email is what everybody knows well and monitors the majority of their business communications. But then there's the idea of a mobile or a tablet-based application. So very similar to how this communication allows you to manage the onslaught of eDiscovery communication on a project-by-project or even a portfolio basis. We're trying to extend that to people's inboxes because, believe it or not, when I was still managing projects myself 5 years ago, it was just email and phone calls that we had to manage. Today, it's instant message. It's even text messages coming from some of our customers with work instructions. So our goal is regardless of the way in which our customers choose to communicate us, that we could at a minimum centralize it to here so they're not having to dig through several disjointed forms of technology to find important project information in detail for projects that go on for months, if not years.
Agreed. That's very nice. I wonder, do you see an uptake of communications in like the 4 o'clock hour in each time zone?
Well, lawyers don't sleep, and then we have to add at least 3 hours onto our days to accommodate. So, I mean, given the fact that we're a worldwide company, we operate 24/7.
It's 4 o'clock someplace. That's one of the
Exactly.
One of the jokes that I've seen is a lot of project managers get inundated in that 4 o'clock hour because all the lawyers spent all day working on whatever project, and then all the requests are going to the PMs in the last hour of their day, quote, during business hours. So this is
like I said, the intent of this is not only to bring efficiency into our communications with our customers, but also our own internal operational practices, where we truly have an ecosystem supporting customers on any one given project. And now with this technology, we can take it one step further and create an element of repeatability when we have similar projects and similar teams to leverage the knowledge across these projects.
Yeah, it's a very pretty interface, and it looks very, high ease of use. It doesn't look complicated. It shouldn't intimidate attorneys or the eDiscovery counsel, or if they have a lit support manager who's logging in to do it. Whoever's the point person, this looks like it should be fairly straightforward to use.
And that was the intent. I mean, they already have their handful with early data assessment and review applications. What this really is an application, whether you be a stakeholder, a project manager, or even a reviewer coming in for your daily review assignments, which we still have yet to build some of that functionality. But really, to get into an application that's so intuitive, that's so much more like what you do in your own personal online experience than having to sit down and go through hours of training and testing to become familiar with an application. So it's really been built to be very akin to a lot of the online applications that are out there in the market today for personal use.
And it shows, and it's, I really like the interface. You guys did a really good job with it. So my compliments.
Thank you.
Compliments to you and your team. So this is fascinating. Hats off. And is there anything else that you want to show me with this?
I would just stay tuned to eDiscovery.com. I believe you may be meeting with one of my colleagues later, Andrea, who'll be showing you one of our products in the eDiscovery.com suite of products, the review application. So keep that in mind when you think about how we're really consolidating not only projects as a portfolio, but really a suite of products that really work well and integrate well with one another to really combine the entire eDiscovery experience under eDiscovery.com.
Very well, very good. Well, I look forward to that presentation, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and I want to thank Kroll Ontrack for taking the time to share about eDiscovery.com manage. Kamal, go Red Sox, and I hope I wish you the best. So
Great, thanks, Josh.
take care now. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
You too.